guys, this is Pearly. Welcome back to my channel. So today I wanna share with you my experiences learning Arabic. So I started learning Arabic around 2 years ago, and right now I still call myself a beginner. Well, it's true that I sort of took my time. I didn't really study it that intensively during these 2 years. It's also true that Arabic is just so difficult. On top of that, there really aren't that many resources available online when you compare it with other popular languages such as French, Japanese, Spanish, and Korean, etc., etc. So I totally understand how easy it is to feel lost when you first started learning Arabic, as it's just really hard to find guidance and instructions and resources online to start with. I actually first started learning Arabic with an online tutor, and later I stopped and decided to learn it myself. So today I'm going to share with you the pros and cons of learning Arabic with a tutor, and also how to learn it yourself if you prefer to do that. Let's get right in. Yalla yalla. Before you actually start to learn Arabic, I would suggest you to decide whether you want to start with learning MSA, which is the abbreviation of Modern Standard Arabic, or we also call it Fusha, or you want to jump directly into learning a dialect. So basically, the differences between MSA and a dialect is the MSA is basically used in more formal situations, such as the education, the media, the literature. So for example, if you want to be able to read in Arabic, then you would need to learn the Modern Standard Arabic, the MSA. But in contrast, for spoken Arabic, which is the dialect, it's used when people communicate with each other in their daily life. So for example, you want to talk with your friends in Arabic, then you wouldn't talk with them in MSA. You will talk to them instead in one of the dialects, such as Egyptian dialect, for example. So a really super popular questions that a lot of beginners would ask is, should I go with MSA or a dialect? It really depends on your goal. So if your goal is to be able to communicate with people, for example, with your friends, your partners, or locals around you, then you could directly jump into learning a dialect. However, if you automatically want to understand the language itself, the foundation, the base of this language, and also maybe you're interested in the religion, or you want to be able to read in this language or watch news in this language, then you will still need to learn MSA at some point. So for me, when I first started it, I actually just jumped directly into learning a dialect. At that time, I chose Egyptian dialect, and I actually didn't think too much at that time. I was just I want to communicate with people. That's my primary goal, so I'm just gonna go with the dialect directly. But actually, I later switched back to learning MSA. I focus much more on learning MSA right now, which I will talk more about it later. Let's now assume that, okay, you decided that you are going to jump directly into learning a dialect. Then the next questions you want to ask yourself is, which dialect you want to learn? There are lots of different categories in the Arab world when it comes to the dialect. For example, Egyptian Arabic, Levantine Arabic, Gulf Arabic, and etc. So at that time for me, I saw a lot of people just recommending learning Egyptian Arabic because it's a dialect that is widely understood across the Arab world thanks to the popularity of Egyptian TV series, medias, and also pop songs, etc. And on top of that, because of that, there are a little bit more resources when it comes to learning Egyptian dialect compared to other dialects. So at that time, I was I'm just gonna go for Egyptian Arabic. And that's how I started my journey at that time. Okay, now let's assume that you already decided whether you're going to start learning the MSA or you're going to jump directly into a dialect. What do you do next? So step 1, learn the alphabet. I would really suggest to learn the alphabet first because the alphabet, I would say, it's actually manageable, but it is going to take you quite some time to become familiar with it. So I think it's better to start earlier. For the alphabet, I think sometimes it can be quite boring during the learning process. So I would really suggest using apps to learn it. At that time, I also write them down a lot. I think like once per day or like once every 2 days because it really helps me to memorize them by writing them down. So you could also try that out. And I would say Arabic alphabets, it's going to take some time. So you don't have to be stressed out and feel like, oh my God, I could never like memorize those vocabulary because it looks so difficult. No, you can totally learn it, but it's just going to take some time. And as long as you are patient with it, you are going to do it. In the process of you learning the alphabet, you can start doing the next step, which is let's finally start to learn this language, Arabic. The first method I would recommend is to hire a tutor. I think it is, for me, one of the most simple and straightforward way to learn Arabic because just like what I said, Arabic is a difficult language and unfortunately there aren't that many resources available online. If you have like a tutor with you, he or she can help you customize your language learning resources and help you with the questions that you have. So it's going to help a lot and it can save you a lot of time looking up resources and figuring out the audio, things like that. And I think a tutor is especially going to be helpful when it comes to learning a dialect because dialect compared to MSA, they have even less resources available online. So at that time, I also started learning Egyptian dialect with an online tutor. Like he's a great teacher. I'm gonna put his link down in the description box below. So if you're interested, you can check him out. But there are also, of course, cons of hiring a tutor. First of all, if you don't really have a budget, like you have limited budget, hiring a tutor might be too much for you. And another thing to notice is it might not be that easy for you to find a teacher that you like. Okay, now let's move on to method 2, which is to learn Arabic yourself. I know many of you watching my channel actually prefer to learn languages yourself, I guess. Is it true? Like actually for me as well, I actually prefer to learn languages myself. So I do have some tips, resources, and some just recommendations in general that I could share with you. Let's get writing. Yalla. So let's first start with Modern Standard Arabic. I would really recommend a book called Mastering Arabic. I actually use this book right now to learn MSA as well myself, and I think this book is really great because it has a lot of pictures in it and it's really well structured. It has audios as well. This book has like a dedicated website. So on the website, there are lots of like free resources or interactive exercises or extra practices. So you really just can do this whole book yourself without needing a teacher. On top of that, I also found 2 YouTube channels that I find really good. I really like these 2 channels, especially the Dr. Imran one, because I just find him like really good at explaining things. And the reason why these 2 channels are really good for beginners is because both of them have like playlist dedicated for complete beginners. So I find them really useful when you feel so lost and don't know where to start when it comes to learning MSA. Yeah, right now let's move on to the dialect. I could only share with you the resources for Egyptian dialect because I have no experiences learning any other dialects. So I apologize for that in advance. So for books, I actually saw quite many people recommending these 3 books like right here. So I think you could check them out. However, like I have never personally used them before, so I'm not so sure what is it going to look like. And besides, there are also 3 websites that I personally like a lot, and they are called Lingualism, Arabic Learning Resources, and Cleolingo. So all of these websites, they're free, and then they offer a lot of grammar lessons or vocabulary list. They also teach like useful idioms and phrases and things like that. I really recommend you to check them out and maybe just like learn one new phrase a day and then learn 3 new vocabulary a day. And there are also 2 YouTube channels that teach Egyptian Arabic. So I'll also put both of them, like the links down below. You could also check them out. And lastly, in this video, I wanna talk about the immersion method, which is also my favorite. The thing is, when you're learning Arabic, whether it's through textbook or through watching YouTube lessons, sometimes it can be very boring and can be quite dull. Sometimes I just couldn't do it anymore, especially when I'm not in a good mood or when I'm like just really busy. I'm just like, I don't want to open my textbook. I don't want to do another lesson on YouTube, things like that. So that's why the immersion method is really important. So if you are interested in how to build like your study plan, you could check out my previous video available on my channel. So when it comes to immersing yourself in this Arabic speaking world, I first want to share with you an app called Glossika, which is also the sponsor of today's video. I really like how Glossika uses like spaced repetition algorithm to help me naturally memorize a lot of like sentences and useful phrases. The app will keep repeating useful phrases and idioms and things like that again and again to you, and you just have to listen to it. They not only have modern standard Arabic, but they also offer Egyptian dialect lessons, which I find amazing given how lack of resources out there for learning dialect in general. I really love using Glossika during my fragmented time, such as when I'm walking, when I'm exercising, when I'm washing dishes, when I'm taking a nap. And just by listening to it again and again, I just naturally memorize a lot of sentences. For example, Yola Nimshi. I also love the fact that for Glossika, you can choose your base language. So I'm literally right now using Japanese to learn Arabic. So it's like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. So I really like it. And I actually just got a very special discount for you all from Glossika. So if you use my code PearlyGloss24 before the end of September, you can get a 30% discount on all plans forever. So basically, as long as you stay being subscribed, you can get 30% discount. So if you're interested, please do check out my code in the description box below. So another immersion practice I like to do is, of course, shadowing practice. If you already know me for a while, you know my love toward shadowing practice. So for shadowing practice, I really love using a YouTube channel called Easy Arabic. It's a really great channel because they always include Arabic subtitles. So it's just great for shadowing purposes. And for shadowing practice, if you are interested in learning more about how to do it, you could also check out my previous video about shadowing practice, my favorite practice of all time. It's just so fun mimicking people. I love it. Lastly, for learning Arabic, I also love just watching random Arabic speaking YouTube channels. When I choose the videos that I watch, I actually don't care at all whether I understand it or not. Even if I don't understand a word they say, I still watch it because it's really entertaining. I just like their personality. And another point is, I won't limit myself to only watching the bloggers, YouTubers who speak Egyptian Arabic. I kind of prioritize more on the style and personality and also the topics of that YouTube channel instead of whether they actually speak Egyptian dialect or not. I do have several YouTubers that I really like. For example, Jana Hanshim. I believe she is from Saudi Arabia, so she speaks the Saudi dialect, and also Rahaf Pro and also Sarah Hani. Those are like lifestyle YouTubers. And for travel YouTubers, I like to watch Joe Hattab, and also another one is Karim. And I know that the channels that I like might not be your type. So if you're wondering about how to find YouTube videos to watch, then you could also check out my previous video about how to find YouTube videos in your target language. And for podcast, I also love listening to podcasts as well. I do have 2 podcasts that I really like. One is by Hannah Aoshiri, and another one is called AB Talks. And especially for the Hannah one, I really love using her podcast as a background music when I'm working because her voice is just so soothing to listen to. So I just really like it, even though usually I only understand maybe 2 or 3 words she said during this, like the whole 40 minutes episode, but it doesn't really matter. I just like to immerse myself in this Arabic speaking world. It's just really fun. And you know, when you find it fun, you find it entertaining, you are going to stay consistent in this language. So yeah, that's basically it for today's video. I hope you find it helpful. Feel free to let me know if you have any things that you want to add, because just like what I said, I'm still very much a beginner in learning Arabic, so there are still a lot of things that I don't know of. And that's about it. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and Pearly will see you again in the next one. Bye bye. Bye bye. Oh, and by the way, did you notice that I just bought this microphone? I hope the audio is better. Like, I'm gonna check my own audio later. I'm so nervous right now. What if it's like broken, or it's like I didn't do well with the settings or things like that. But anyway, I hope it's much better in terms of the audio quality. And anyway, thank you so much, and bye bye. Bye bye.